I like my food local, but I know where my cows are.
Hi, my name is Hanspetermeyer, and today I'm talking to Foster Richardson. Foster is part of a crew called the Birds and the Beans Farm. They're new to the Comox Valley Farmers Market, and well, let's launch right into it. So, why are you in the Comox Valley?
We moved here. We had the opportunity through some connections to lease some land here and start a farm, and it was a plan that we'd been tossing around for a while, and when the opportunity came about, we decided to jump on it.
Are you guys, do you have a farming background, Foster?
The four of us all studied agriculture and have worked on other farms throughout our studies, but none of us had run a farm ourselves.
Had you ever grown up or around or on a farm?
I grew up on a hobby farm. So parents had a big garden and we had some animals, but it certainly wasn't farming for a living.
Right. So that's what you're trying to do now. You're trying to do like real-time farming. This is your first year. What are you growing at the Birds and the Beans?
We grew just about every vegetable we could think of. We raised chickens and we grew some staple grain crops. Right now at the farmers market, we're onto our winter crops. We've got kale, cabbage, rutabagas, celeriac. We've lots and lots of squash still. Recently ran out of potatoes. That's sort of where we're at now.
Right, and you've got this new thing, the dried beans. So the dried beans aren't new to me, but they're new as a crop in this region. Is that right?
They certainly aren't grown here like they used to be, and right now dry beans and some other grain crops are a big hole in our local food system. Our goal is to rebuild that capacity locally to meet those dietary needs.
But you've also talked about how important the legumes are for your soil. So can you talk a bit about that?
Absolutely. Legumes fix nitrogen, so they're really important in maintaining fertility of soil long term. And growing vegetable crops, which are quite high demand, especially on nitrogen, it's really beneficial to have the legumes, especially large area of legumes like with the dry beans, to balance the demands of vegetables.
Right, because if you don't have lots of cow manure and you don't have legumes, then you're dependent on nitrogen in the chemical form. Is that right?
Absolutely, and we grow organically, so we don't have that option.
Right. So, what kind of beans are you growing?
Oh, we grew a whole bunch of different varieties trying to trial. We grew pinto beans, we grew black cocoa beans, we do Nez Perce beans, which are a variety from Washington, cranberry beans, orca beans, and a few others that I can't think of.
Well, what's your favorite?
I think the Nez Perce might be my favorite because they're so reliable here in our shorter, cooler season.
Right.
And they're tasty and quick to grow or quick to cook because they're small.
Right. Okay, so you've got all this produce. Where do you sell it?
Right now we're selling at the farmers market here in Courtenay. We have done sales through some other sources, but in year one we really wanted to focus on the farmers market to meet the community and get our name out there. And it's turned out to be a really great place to sell and move a lot of products, so it's great.
What do you see in the future? So we're coming, by the time this goes, we'll be eating lots of dried stuff and lots of winter vegetables, but what's going to happen in the spring for you guys?
In the spring, we're going to be getting ready for next year, and we're going to be definitely focusing on producing more crops that will be available year-round. So some of the vegetable crops that we've already run out of that we could have going at this time of year, as well as taking what we learned this year growing beans and the other grains, and trying to learn from what didn't work this year so that we have an even larger supply to sell throughout the winter and into the spring through the hunger gap.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for talking to me, Foster. It's always really interesting to me when I see young people going into this field because it seems, there is a bit of a fad around local food right now. It's a lot of work. So thank you for being part of my food system.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Be sure to check out the farmers market this winter. It's at the Native Sons Inn downtown Courtenay. And well, we'll see you there.
Where my cows have been. I like my food local. Wanna know my fish swam up a stream. I like my food local. Wanna know that my hens can roam. I like my food to come from my home. I got enough hormones in me, I don't need any more. I wanna know the folks who run my local store. Don't want no E. coli, I just want what's right there. I wanna know what's on my plate was treated with good care. I like my food local. Wanna know where my cows have been. I like my food local. Wanna know my fish swam up a stream. I like my food local. Wanna know that my hens can roam. I like my food to come from my home.